Hi, kindergarten. Today we're going to read chapter 10 in The Night at Dawn. Chapter 10 is the last chapter in the book, and I sure hope that Jack and Annie made it home okay. Today we're going to talk about story grammar. Story grammar is where we think about what happened at the beginning of the story, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end. These friends are reading about a butterfly, and they're thinking about what happens at the beginning of a butterfly's life when it's a caterpillar, what happens in the middle of a butterfly's life when he goes into his chrysalis, and what happens at the end when he becomes a butterfly. And those are the stages of becoming a butterfly. Now, we're of course not reading about butterflies, so we're going to think about what happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end of our story. And that's good to think about at the end of the book because we want to remember what happened in the different parts of the book so we can enjoy the end. So at the beginning of the story, Jack and Annie made a wish. They went to the treehouse, they found a book, they made a wish, and what did they see out the window? They saw a castle. And Annie's always the first to go and try to explore and find out new information while she's there, while Jack was looking through the book. So Annie goes into the castle, and of course Jack follows. In the middle of the book, who found Jack and Annie in the castle? The guards. But Annie and Jack are smart, and they found a way out of the castle. The problem was, when they got out of the castle, they weren't on the ground. They were in the moat, and they had to swim through the water to get to the shore. But luckily, there was someone there to help them. Who helped Jack and Annie find the treehouse? The knight. Now we're at the end of the story. Jack and Annie went back to the treehouse. Annie made a wish, but she's worried that maybe the wish wasn't from the right book. So let's read to see what happens at the very end of the story and if Jack and Annie make it home. Chapter 10 is called One Mystery Solved. Let's see what mystery gets solved today. The air was warm. That's a clue, because was the air warm by the castle? No, they were cold, right? So wherever they are now, the air is warm. It was dawn. That means morning. Far away, a dog barked. I think that's Henry barking, Annie said. We did come home. They both looked out the treehouse window. That was close, said Jack. In the distance, street lights lit their street. There was a light on in their upstairs window. Uh-oh, said Annie. I think Mom and Dad are up. Hurry! Wait! In a daze, Jack unzipped his backpack. He pulled out the castle book. It was still quite wet. But Jack placed it back with all the other books. Come on, hurry, said Annie, scooting out of the treehouse. Jack followed her down the ladder. They reached the ground and took off between the gray-black trees. They left the woods and ran down their deserted street. They got to their yard and crept across the lawn right up to the back door. Jack and Annie slipped inside the house. Do you think Mom and Dad are gonna hear them? They're not downstairs yet, whispered Annie. Shh, said Jack. He led the way up the stairs and down the hall. No sign of his mom or dad, but he could hear water running in the bathroom. Their house was so different from the dark, cold castle, so safe and cozy and friendly. Annie stopped at her bedroom door. She gave Jack a smile, then disappeared inside her room. Jack hurried into his room. He took off his damp clothes and put on his dry, soft pajamas. How do you think that felt good? How do you think that felt good? I meant to ask you, how do you think that felt to take off those wet clothes and put on his dry clothes? I bet it felt good. He sat down on his bed and he unzipped his backpack. He took out his wet notebook. He felt around for the pencil, but his hand touched something else. Jack pulled the blue leather bookmark out of his backpack. It must have fallen out of the castle book. Jack held the bookmark close to his lamp and studied it. The leather was smooth and worn. It seemed ancient. Ancient means very old. For the first time, Jack noticed a letter on the bookmark, a fancy M. Jack opened the drawer next to his bed and he took out the gold medallion. These two things have something in common, the bookmark and the gold medallion. What do they both have on them? Do you remember? Let's see if you're right. He looked at the letter on it. It was the same M. Now this was an amazing new fact. Jack took a deep breath. One mystery solved. The person who had dropped the gold medallion in the time of dinosaurs was the same person who owned all the books in the treehouse. Who was this person? So at the end of the story, Jack and Annie have solved one mystery. They know that the person that dropped the medallion is the same person who owns the books in the treehouse. But there's still this new mystery. Who is that person? Jack placed the bookmark next to the medallion. He closed the drawer. He picked up his pencil. He turned to the least wet page in his notebook, and he started to write down his new fact. He wrote the same, but before he could draw the M, his eyes closed. How's Jack feeling? Tired. He dreamed they were with the night again, all three of them riding the black horse through the cool, dark night, beyond the outer wall of the castle, and up over the moonlit hill into the mist. And that's the end of the story. There's that beautiful bookmark, and do you see what letter? What letter is it? It's the same M that was on the gold medallion. And that's the end of the book. Oh, I love that book. I drew something different than the illustrator of the story. I drew that Jack and Annie went home. I thought that was important because I was a little worried that they weren't gonna make it, but they found their way home. Good thing they got there before Mom and Dad noticed they were gone. But I also thought it was important that Jack solved a mystery. The person who had the medallion is the same person who had the bookmark. It had that letter on it, the letter M. So even though I drew this for my picture today, if you thought something else was also very important, you could draw something different. Think about what was important at the end of our story on this last chapter. I really hope you enjoyed this story today. We're gonna work hard on putting the story in order and thinking about what happened at the beginning, the middle, and the end.